Welcome everyone to webinar 11, Phoenix Rising, Awakening to a New Reality. This is our EED webinar for November 7th. And we have a lot of people joining us. The theme about this webinar is, well, we've talked in the past a lot about accessing resilience, connecting to source, and this is really about how to rebuild yourself from a resilient place. So this is less about how to access the resilience. We're going to assume, okay, you're already accessing it. Now, what do you do from there? How do you rebuild yourself? This is taking yourself into action and planning and strategy, vision, as well as restructuring belief systems. And why we want to do this from resilience is when you start shifting yourself around, what are you shifting according to? Are you just rebuilding and reinventing yourself according to non-resilience, meaning still driven by fear or emptiness? Or are you taking the opportunity to plug yourself in to a resilient place and then start restructuring your belief systems while connected to source? This makes a big difference when we reinvent ourselves, because otherwise, if we keep reinventing ourselves from fear, we're just repeating the same patterns again and again, and we'll run into the same obstacles again and again. I'd love to hear from you guys if you have particular questions or curiosities regarding the webinar. I know you've just seen the title, you've read the description, so what do you bring with you? If there's anything in particular you'd love to see covered. Because I do have stuff in mind, but I want to hear from you as well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So to me, this topic makes much more sense now that I've done the first workshop of EED,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm starting to be familiar with the concepts of EED,
Mm-hmm.
So okay, basically my question is, there are two different profiles: someone who is familiar with EED and understands maybe better what you're going to explain and can apply it to himself or herself. And then you have in coaching, for example, clients that are maybe not so familiar with the concepts. So, okay, what I'm trying to say is, how can you explain? What you're going to explain today, will it be also possible for people who haven't followed ED to understand? So, for example, just simple coaching clients that haven't followed the course.
Yes. Yeah. I'm for these webinars, I'm making it simple. I don't want to require people to already have had experience taking these modules, etc. That's for our community calls, because we have a language we speak. You've been through some techniques and skills. What we're doing here is I want to be able to guide people with some basics. You do not need a background in EED for this, but it will shift how you're thinking about your own coaching, your own facilitation techniques. Because I'm not guiding you on how to do these things necessarily. I'm pointing you in directions to say, hey, think about this. Hey, this could be a trap. Here is why. So then this is how you can start thinking differently. To do this in a masterful way, in a much simpler, more polished way with some finesse, yes, taking the courses will help you. It will make it a lot simpler for you. But still, what I'm going to present is still possible to do with your own methodologies and your own trainings that are not EED specific, okay?
Okay.
And like I said, if you want to know how to do this with polish, finesse, creativity, and ease, yes, then come take at least Module 1 so that you get the basics of the model. Because the main thing one of the main things that differentiates EED from other systems, let's say, is we don't depend on the verbal language and concepts that a client is expressing, because we're looking at two levels of truth. What are they presenting and what are they actually doing? And we'll see there could be sometimes double signals. So we make the client's behavior primary, because that is more likely going to surface a deeper truth and get them more in alignment with themselves, meaning we're lining up thoughts, feelings, actions, words all together. All right. If we depend too much on what a client will tell me, I'm not getting the whole truth. And if I'm not aware of body signals, I'm not aware of levels of energy, then I might get sidetracked by what they're telling me, because everyone gives a good presentation, a good performance, and a good argument. And if I can't break past that to see, well, what's behind that, I can't get things lined up to a deeper level of truth. Do you guys follow what I'm saying here? Does it make sense? Does that already produce questions? If not, okay. This becomes particularly important when rebuilding belief systems, because what will happen is the client is going to be in a split focus, meaning they're going to have one belief system on one side and then the new belief system on the other. And this is usually a main struggle for coaches, because they're trying to move from clients from one old belief system to a new belief system. The client comes and says, look, I'm having problems here, here, here. I want to transform this, this, and this. So I need to do this, this, and this. Well, great. They can say, I'm going to do this. I want to do this. This is my new vision. But if it's not supported with congruency underneath that, meaning the way they think and the way they feel and the way they fundamentally behave, those new actions and new beliefs will not sustain. They're going to revert to what is foundational and fundamental. Do you guys follow what I'm saying here? Yeah. So why is EED advantageous for a coach is because you're learning truly how to read signals, bounce off them, provoke truth from the client without being overly bullyish, or I mean, it's done in a gentle way, but you are capable of provoking if they're being stubborn. But what you're really doing is you're lining up what they believe, say, do, and think and feel. All right. And if you want to talk neuroscience, we're also syncing up the left and right hemispheres of the brain, where we're respecting the logic and the strategies of the client, but we're also bringing in their higher creativity and their ability to get more of a meta view of what's going on. Okay. And there's more to that when we talk about brain stuff.
Can I ask a question, Troy?
Yes, please.
I don't see myself, so I didn't know you would hear me. Anyway.
Yep. Do you see yourself now, or I don't know what you guys see. Do you only see me?
I see only you.
Okay.
Yeah, but so you talk about two truths: the presenting truth and the body signals.
Yes. Another. Yeah. What's your question there? Or do you have a question, or do you want just clarification on what I mean?
I want to clarify, because for me it's like, I always assumed like I don't buy into what they're saying because it's just mental stuff.
Yeah.
I go with what they are showing and
doing.
What is in the space.
Yeah, okay.
But when you say two truths, then I think, well, the ultimate truth is neither, you know?
Right. Okay. Well, here's another assumption the EED comes from. It's that we can work with multiple truths, all right? So it's more like a quantum reality. It's not linear, meaning we can hold a few different truths at a time. When those truths become in conflict, that creates the cognitive dissonance of the client. This is why you see them flipping back and forth. But when they're coming from source, a level of source, a level of fluidity, they're actually able to start holding paradox. So they can start to reconcile different truths together. All right. Now, what I mean by two truths at the same time is it pulls back to the webinar we did months ago on masks and shields. We also discussed this in our conflict workshop. And in module 1, we discussed that you're always getting 2 reactions. So you're getting the reaction they present, which is the mask or the shield.
Mm-hmm.
But behind that is their first impulse, their very first reaction. When something first hit them, for example, they can, by what they see or hear, it immediately angers them.
Mm-hmm.
But then they present, oh no, I'm okay, I'm calm, that doesn't matter to me, right? That's a mask or a shield. But initially it angered them, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Both actually are true, because where we put our focus on, we start aligning ourselves around it. But if we start getting the split focus, okay, I'm trying to hold my mask while still feeling angry, it's not going to work, right? So this is, again, I'm going to start talking about how to rebuild beliefs. They cannot hope, wish, and pray for a new belief to come in without letting go of the old belief. They have to completely clear the old belief out and put full focus on the new belief. Otherwise, it won't stick. Otherwise, they're going to keep toggling. And again, I'm going to refer back to neuroscience. The strongest neural pathway wins. The one that is most ingrained, the one that is most repeated, will win, particularly under stress, duress, and crisis. All right. So what we're going to talk about here is, fine, we can get a person in a more resilient state. What we mean by that is, no matter what's going on around them, they're okay. They're in touch with their will to live. They feel that core vitality. They realize there's a permanent, timeless aspect of themselves that can live on. This is why I'm titling this Phoenix Rising. They can burn and crumble, but there's that will to live that allows them to rise from the ashes. That is the resilient force. They're able to rise. But this is focusing on, what are they rising into? All right? And so when anyone makes a transition and they start to change themselves, they're also changing the world around them, directly or indirectly. So if I am, a chain smoker, suddenly I say, I'm quitting, I'm cold turkey. I'm in a new world. And I'm going to constantly be reminded of that old world, but there's going to be a new set of challenges. There's going to be new rules. I have to create new relationships with everything. Every time, I step outside on the sidewalk, I used to smoke. Every time, I go out for drinks with my friends, I used to smoke. Everything flips. Do you understand? I'm using that as an example because it's easy to understand. When somebody says, I'm going to be a self-confident person and act on every decision immediately, well, they're going to have a new relationship to everything. How are you guys doing with this information? Do you want to make any comments or questions?
For me, it's clear.
Okay.
But I'm happy to hear a question if anyone has.
Yeah, I just like to pause because I know I can go fast and
dumb questions are allowed, isn't it? Sorry.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Does anyone relate so far to what I'm saying? Has anyone been struggling with this? I mean, I'm sure we've all tried to make changes, and then we realize, okay, like New Year's resolutions, okay, right? Oh, I'm going to finally go on that diet, or, oh, I'm going to, do my spring cleaning and throw this stuff out, or...
Okay, these are easy examples, but let's say it's a more abstract thing and we are awaked into the new reality. How can we 2 hours or 2 days later still be sure that we are still there? Like,
can you be more specific? That's very generic for me, Paul.
So, how do I know that I'm awake? I think everyone can relate to, disregarding any methodologies, anyone can regard to the moment of bliss or surrender to world where you are having the feeling of seeing more than before, being more awake. And then you have shifts and transformations. And but if it is not like life problems or life goals, like very physical things, but more like psychological manners, like how can we still be sure that we are in it and not revert back to something, as you said, that is possible?
It's a good question. Pay attention to how you're affected by things. You know, we have emotional reactions for a reason. Why am I reacting this way? It's not about why, but okay, so I am reacting this way. How is this affecting me, right? What does this wake me up to? Normally where we go with our reactions is something or the world is against me. Like, we really pay attention to our reactions when they're uncomfortable. We don't necessarily pay attention to our reactions when they're pleasurable, right? What I'm saying is pay attention to the how you're reacting, then look at what am I reacting to? Then ask, what is it? What's the message? What's it trying to show me or tell me? Instead of me trying to fight it or avoid it, if you're going into that, oh, that again, I'm going to fight it. You're not awake. You're back into default patterns. If you pay attention to, okay, I really want to fight this, but hold on, what's going on? What if I don't fight it? Then what? Then you're going to get more reactions. I might get scared. I might get fearful. Or I might realize I'll still be okay, so I don't actually need to fight. That is more of an awakening process. Is this making sense, what I'm saying here? If you notice, if you recognize what's going on, before acting on judgment of it, simply accept it for what it is. Say, okay, that's what's happening. This person is being mean to me again, and I'm getting very, very, very angry. All right?
So are you saying there are two states? Like one state where you are like more fluid and awoke,
Yes.
and one state where you're more like...
on automatic. One state you can, yeah, we normally go on automatic. This is our survival mechanism, right? Yeah. That is our
exercise 100%, or is it something?
Paul, I think maybe, Paul, what you want to say, I'm not sure, I want to check how I hear it. Your question is, because I use myself as an instrument to understand what's going on. And as I started as a coach, I had all these reactions at what you described, Troy. So it's easy to work on it because you can actually feel it inside, but now it becomes some more subtle and more subtle. And then my mind starts thinking, yeah, are you avoiding or not? But it feels like, well, everything is still flowing. Is that what you're meaning, Paul? And then your mind wants to tell you you're not doing it right, but actually you're in harmony with life. So the signal is actually, that's my thing. Are you at peace? Are you still in harmony? And of course, you disagree with how most of people live their lives, but so what? Yeah,
I'd say rather than look for peace and harmony, because that could be a trap, because you may want to try to neutralize everything, right? And then you're avoiding the roller coaster of life and the roller coaster of your emotions. Rather ask yourself, am I still okay?
Better than am I in bliss?
Yes, because you may be pointing yourself to a conditional way of being, right? How you awaken is, well, you can awaken in crisis and stress and tragedy, right? To say, oh my God, oh shit, right? But you can also awaken to the more subtle things by just questioning what's in front of you. To say, okay, so this is happening. How do I feel about it? Am I still okay? That will, when you ask the question, am I still okay? It puts you in a more resilient place so you can be more fluid with it. Fluid, flexible, and adaptable. When you say, what's going on there? Do I like it? What do I do about it? That puts you more in the reactive place, the fight, flight, avoid, or escape. Do you understand? When you ask first, before action, before anything, am I still okay with this? It's putting you in more direct relationship with it, and you're in more direct relationship with your resilience. Now you have more of a chance to awaken and become fluid and make more choices. Because otherwise, our brain starts directing us towards survival according to what beliefs got imprinted in us through past experience. And what I'm questioning is, okay, I don't debate or deny that your past experiences weren't or were real. I mean, they were real to you and they guided you. Okay, but now we start going on repeat. Oh, when somebody looks at me that way, they don't trust me. Now I freak out. Now I have to do extra work to make sure they have confidence in me. Now I feel weaker. You understand? We start going in these little conditional habits because we're taking old signals and repeating old patterns. When we want to reinvent ourselves, we have to question everything and say, is that necessary anymore? And then we have to do the work to restructure ourselves. We can keep returning to this, but this is the basic concept. And what I'm saying is, by returning to resilience, by just simply asking the question, am I still okay, is going to activate a more resilient nature in you. And then you can start picking and choosing your beliefs. And then I'm going to show you how you lock those new beliefs into place. Okay? Because every new belief is like a little plant that's growing, and it needs time to take root and strengthen before it gets exposed to the strong elements. And what I mean by the strong elements is, don't put new beliefs to the big test too soon, meaning don't throw yourself in a highly stressful situation with a new belief. Rather, work your beliefs in a more protective environment so you can give them 100% focus and gradually introduce new tests that get stronger and stronger. All right? So I'll refer to some neuroscience. Number one, when creating a new belief, do it in an environment of pleasure. That way you are more relaxed and more fluid and more in touch with your creativity, and you are less reactive. So in an environment of enjoyment and pleasure, you are actually in touch with resilience and your source. So you are more fluid and adaptable. Therefore, you can do some programming. You're in a more receptive state. Number two, repetition, repeating the belief. Repeating, and I'll show you how you can language new beliefs so that on the language and level and the mental level, you can start influencing and controlling your feelings and actions, behaviors in the body. Repetition. The more you repeat, the more you feel it, like full body, full being, repetition will strengthen the new belief. Number three, action. You must take action on the belief. You just can't be passively sitting on it. You've got to take some action so that the belief repeats, but with slight variation. This is why we say add little tests. So you can keep repeating it with slight variation, because every time you're challenged, the belief is going to break down and you have to reconstruct it to maintain it. So with each deconstruction, reconstruction, you're actually repeating, but with slight variation. Do you guys follow this, what I'm saying, or is it a bit too conceptual?
No, it's okay.
Okay, establish new beliefs in a pleasurable environment. Okay, do not establish new beliefs under stress. Otherwise, you're programming stress. Okay. Repeat the new belief in a pleasurable environment. Number three, work the new belief with slight variations, meaning give it slight challenges, test it out, okay? And that will strengthen. All right. I'm going to show you a slide. A lot of this stuff we introduce in Module 3, all right? Because Module 3 is all about constructing reality from resilience. All right. Here is a slide for you. I'm going to ask you guys what you see. You see that slide? Just tell me what you see. What's the image?
Faces.
Okay. Faces.
There's two images.
I don't see it.
Can you see the screen?
Ah.
Two faces, but could be a glass. White
Okay.
glass.
Yes.
I see both the faces and the cup to drink from.
Okay.
Like the Holy Grail.
Yes. So you see either a white cup or two very dark faces inside profile facing each other. Okay. Now,
I see both too.
yes, you see both. Now, here's the question. Can you see both at the same time?
I can't.
And try to at the same time, and notice what the feeling is like if you try to see both at the same time as the primary object.
It's really stressful.
Yeah.
Yes.
It takes.
Do you notice that? Okay, so what that is creating is what's called cognitive dissonance. This is what's happening when you're trying to hold two realities at once, two beliefs at once, okay? I can be a successful entrepreneur. I don't deserve success. I can be a successful entrepreneur. I don't deserve success. For example, do you guys understand? Mm-hmm. Okay. I hope my business is successful, but really I know I'm a screw up. I've always failed. Okay. That's trying to hold two different images at once, two beliefs at once. This is the problem we get when we wish, hope, and pray. All right. And we don't pay attention to what's going on fundamentally. All right. And this is why, let's say, a lot of coaches have problems with clients taking action, because they may say, oh, I'm so inspired and I'm going to go out and I'm going to make those phone calls and I'm going to talk to all these people. And then they come back the next session and you say, what did you do? And they go, well, I didn't really do anything. I got kind of scared. I need to work my values a little bit more or something. Right. So, what's happening is, this is why anchoring is so important. We have to choose a primary focus. And when we're choosing one reality, we're letting go of the other. All right. So when you want to see the cup, where are you looking?
I'm looking on the top when I want to see the cup. When I want to see the other, I look a little bit below and on the both sides. Okay.
Great. I kind of feel like I have to pull back to see the cup, like I have to see big picture to see the cup.
Mm-hmm. Hi, and by the way, hi, Deborah. Good to see you.
And then when I come back to the face, like I kind of zoom in and focus, but to see the cup, I have to pull back again. It's like a distance thing.
Okay, great. Anyone else?
It's like,
just looking at the middle.
Who was talking? So we got Annabelle, and who else was talking? Was it Paul? I couldn't tell.
Pardon, that was me. I said I'm just focusing the middle and switch.
Okay, and
for me,
sorry, Amiel, yeah.
Sorry, for me, it's if I want to see the cup, I just focus on wanting to see the cup, but the face is the same.
Okay, and Annabelle.
Yeah, it's more that intention. Like, do I intend? What do I want to see? But I also think like the left sees the this eye sees the cup, and this the kids.
Okay. Now this might seem like a stupid question when I'm asking, like, where do you focus in order to see the cup, or where do you focus in order to see the two dark faces? But this is extremely important. If you go with the concept, what you focus on grows. What you focus on becomes reality. In this case, what you focus on becomes the primary object that you see, okay? Mm-hmm. Think of foreground, background. If you want to see the cup, you have to bring it to the front, okay? So you make the white space solid, and the black space becomes empty, okay? If you want to switch it around, you have to bring the black space forward, and that becomes the object, and the white space becomes the background, okay? You actually are shifting where you're looking, but it's also intentionally what you're doing, okay? So just try that for a bit. Bring the white space to the front. It's the solid object, and see what happens. Then bring the black space to the front and make it the solid object, and see what happens. And pay attention to the shift. There will be a sensation of some kind of a shift, either in your eyes or your body or the feeling. You may even be changing your point of focus to a different location on the picture. What do you guys experience? Yes?
When I look into the cup, it's kind of, I have more energy on the third eye.
Mm-hmm.
When I look for the two faces, I have more energy on the bases, on the hips and the legs.
Great. Okay. Now, let's say this is a metaphor for two different beliefs. I would anchor that with her then. Say, okay, so when you want belief number one, the white cup, then you're going to bring all your awareness up here, and this is where you're going to engage from. When you want to switch beliefs down into the dark faces, you're going to go down into your hips. Because, you see, now she's aligning herself with the belief. That's a way to anchor, and it's an easy access point for her. Instead of her walking around and saying, where's my white cup? Where's my white cup, right? She can find it through the way she anchored it for herself. Is this making sense for you guys?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? What sensations were you experiencing when you switched images?
The faces began to glow.
Okay. Okay, great. And then notice how it affects you. Notice how you feel different when you've got the glowing faces. And then notice how you feel when you let them go. Right? So you're getting to know your two different states. Anyone else there want to bring in some comments here?
When I look at the cup, I want to grab it.
Okay.
And when I see the faces, I'm pulled in like I want to be with them.
Okay, great. Great. So notice how that is a different sensation. You want to grab the cup, there's something tangible.
It's very active.
Yes. And the cups the faces are magnetizing you. They are pulling you in. So you have two different energetic reactions as well. Okay, that's great. That's great. Now, if we talk art school for a second, okay, they have what's called positive space and negative space, all right? Simply put, positive space is the solid object that you're focusing on. Negative space literally means empty space, what surrounds the solid object. This has nothing to do with good or bad. It has more to do with what's concrete and what's empty. Mm-hmm. All right? You need both positive and negative space to frame a reality. Okay? That white cup would not exist without the black background. Do you understand? The black background frames the cup. But if you put too much focus on the negative space, then it's no longer a cup. It now becomes two faces. Do you understand? You've changed the negative positive space. You've now made the black the positive space, which is the concrete object. And the cup disappears and becomes the background. Now, why am I telling you this? This directly relates to language and the way we express ourselves. I can describe to you my room, and I can say, my room is not too big and my room is not too small. The walls are not white, and I have more than 4 walls, but I don't have, a lot of walls. I just have, my door isn't quite open, but it's not closed either. And I didn't make my bed today. Now, do you have a clear picture of my room?
No.
Okay. What I was doing was I was trying to describe the white cup by describing everything about the black background. Do you understand? I was describing to you emptiness, all right? that gives you nothing concrete or tangible. But this is the way we habitually talk about ourselves or our situations or our reality, right? I'm not happy with my job. I don't like all my coworkers. I don't have a lot of friends. And I just don't know what to do about work anymore. I'm not happy there. So there's nothing concrete, nothing specific, okay? Now I'm going to talk to you again about my room. I have silvery gray wallpaper that is like a washed floral design, and it has a pink hue because of the pinkish light above me. My room is approximately 20 meters square. I have one door, it is closed, and it's on the right side. My bed is made today, and it's a double bed. And the sheets are green. Now, how does it feel to hear me describe my room that way? What's your internal feeling about what I'm giving you and how you're in relationship with me?
The first time was a bit confused, there is no understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And the second, I felt a little bit excited, happy to meet you in your bedroom.
Okay. Well, yes, Irena. Well. Of course, I always meet new strangers in my bedroom. Right. Yes. I'm very entertaining.
Sounds good.
Yes. Why would you start? So I'm guessing that you feel more relaxed with yourself and less confused and more clear, and therefore it enabled you to get more excited to get to know me. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what's the simple reason behind that?
Can I answer? Because I had a similar feeling, and
Yeah.
I felt like the first time, and I've had a client where I'm fighting this, right? I ask them a question and they tell me not. And I feel like all I'm hearing is your judgments of yourself. Like I'm hearing your inner critic.
Okay.
And then, but it was so simple when you just told me what was there. It built trust.
That's it. It builds solid, tangible relationship, which then the effect is trust. I'm giving you direct observables. I'm giving you direct fact. Okay. And when I start speaking from the negative space, meaning not negative judgment, but emptiness, meaning what something is not, I sound ambiguous. I sound evasive. Okay. I'm going to describe to you a cup, but I'm not really going to describe it to you. Okay, immediately you're not going to trust it because it's creating a dissonance. It's a cognitive dissonance. Does that make sense? So if I tell you, I'm very upset at work, there are 3 colleagues that keep undermining my decisions. Every time I go to a meeting and make a presentation, they constantly criticize me. That is very different than I'm not happy at work. There are a few people that, don't like me, and I can't get ahead in my meetings. I'm saying the same thing, but I'm focused on the negative space as opposed to the positive concrete. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? Or
Yes.
what the difference is? Did you have something to say, Sasha? Yeah.
Yeah, just could you give please another example, because I think I got it, but I'm not quite sure.
Okay. This is an exercise you can do with anyone in conversation, all right? What you want to do is, and especially with yourself, notice how you talk to yourself. If I'm focused on the white cup, am I describing the white cup or am I describing the black space around it? If I'm focused on the 2 faces, am I describing the black area or am I describing the white space surrounding the faces? Okay. If I'm saying to myself, I'm not feeling well, okay, then ask yourself, what am I feeling? If I'm not feeling well, what am I feeling? I'm feeling tension. I'm feeling sick to my stomach. See, that's very different than I'm not feeling well. One, it's concrete, but it's also specific. So this is the first exercise. In order to grab hold of a belief, whether it's your current belief or a new belief, be concrete and specific, okay? Mm-hmm. So I'm on my way to answering that, Sasha.
Okay.
Okay, so here's what to think. When I'm in the negative space, I could say, I do not live in a house. Well, then where am I living? Well, I live in an apartment, okay? When I'm being generic, I could say, well, I'm kind of tall. I'm a kind of a tall person. Well, be specific. Well, I'm exactly 173 centimeters tall, okay? Notice when you get to the positive specific, or you could call this concrete specific, your body actually relaxes because it doesn't have to stress by figuring out what's going on. It's like, oh, okay, fact is a fact. You can relax with that. Do you notice that internally? I do not live in a house, but so where do I live? What's going on? What is this? Well, I live in an apartment. Oh, I get it. Okay. Right? How tall are you? Well, I'm kind of tall. I'm a kind of tall person. Yeah, I'm kind of tall. How tall are you? Well, I'm not short. Oh my God, how tall are you? Oh, well, I'm exactly 173 centimeters tall. Oh, I get it. Okay, I can relax with that. We relax with concrete, tangible facts. Already, we're going to be in a more enjoyable, pleasurable, and resilient place when we are concrete and specific. You guys follow this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So a question, Troy.
Yes. Oh, you just muted yourself, Deborah, or did you cut out? Might have lost.
Got it.
You
Got it.
there? Okay, good.
So you're telling me that your sheets are green, and I'm being calmed by the facts. Are you also suggesting that if you ask me a coaching question and I answer with facts, I myself will be more relaxed?
Yes.
Okay.
This is more for the client to relax within themselves. It's less for the coach to relax with them. But yes, of course, it's going to have a positive effect. There's two things to this. And the primary thing is, how are we talking to ourselves? Pay attention to that. Now, if you're a coach working with a client, you want to start steering them in the direction to talk in a more concrete, specific fashion. Number one, they will have more clarity for themselves, and they won't be swimming in confusion throughout the whole session. Number two, you have more to work with, and they have more to work with. They'll be actually in stronger relationship with whatever they're focused on. It's this first step that you can start discovering what they believe, and then later transforming what they believe. How are you guys doing with that information? Okay. So, this is particularly important when somebody comes in with a topic, okay? You can have them talk for a couple minutes about, so what are you bringing to the table today, all right? Okay, well, I want to talk about my I don't know, my family life at home. I've been having a few fights with my son. He doesn't listen to me. He's always very rebellious, and I'm not feeling good about this. I feel terrible as a parent. So you see how I'm kind of mixed between, I'm toggling back and forth, okay? Mm-hmm. You want to first get them targeting on, okay, so what's going on? So, how is it affecting you to have fights with your son? Well, we're not really fighting. I wouldn't call it fighting. Well, what are you doing then? Right? And what do you mean? Well, what's happening? Well, he's arguing with me. So what's it like to argue with him? Well, I don't like to argue. Okay, so you see how they're not really owning the situation. Okay? So this is already very effective to bring clarity to the topic when you're not criticizing them. You're just reining them in to be clear and specific with themselves, okay? This also becomes important later when they're designing actions and strategies for them. For example, all right, well, then I'll go sit down and talk with my son. Well, when? Well, maybe within a week. When this week? What day? Oh, I don't know. I'll have to look on my calendar. Great. Go take out your calendar. You see, because if you don't nail them with a specific, they're not going to do it. Do you guys follow this as well?
Mm-hmm.
It's not called micromanaging, but it's having them make a clear, concrete choice that is specific. Okay. Oh, I'll go on Monday. Okay, so Monday afternoon, I'm going to go call a few clients. How many? Well, I don't know. Well, at least how many? I'll call at least 3. There's going to be a difference in the way they feel towards that action when they've just named that specific, okay? Being concrete and specific opens us to more resilience, fluidity, creativity, and action. We add unnecessary stress when we are generic, ambiguous, or when I say negative, what I mean is non-concrete, okay?
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys doing with this? Any questions? Okay. The other thing when rebuilding ourselves is we need to know, okay, what are the current beliefs we're holding? What's the current reality we're in? And then what is the reality we want? What are the possibilities? What is it that we want to create for ourselves? What we're moving through to the future? Coaches, leaders, facilitators, you know, you always ask, okay, so if that's the situation, what do you want? What do you want the outcome to be? What is possible from here? Okay, and you're going to get some typical answers like, well, okay, regarding with my son, I would really love to have a more positive relationship with my son. So that we have more understanding, but he never listens. I really want to have more, be able to feel happier at work, but, it's a cutthroat environment. It's so competitive. I can't compete. So I really want to build my business, but I don't know if I have enough money, and I know I could get maybe a second job for a while, but then it's just going to be so tiring. So what am I doing to myself? What are you noticing in common with all of these possibilities?
Well, you're putting barriers for just having what you want. You're boycotting yourself.
I'm going in one direction, and then I'm backpedaling. And I'm saying, well, that would be a really nice idea, but, and then I take it away or switch directions. So the next thing to look out for in the way people speak or talk or when exploring new beliefs is the word but. But splits the focus. Okay? Now, this is natural. So there's 2 things I have to say to this. When you're in the early stages of a session, when you're in an exploration stage, exploring beliefs, so you're not happy with your business. Well, what is possible? Or maybe you introduce a value or give them a new perspective and they'll say possibilities. Well, quite naturally, they're going to say but. For a while, let them do that. Okay, what they're doing is they're toggling between what's possible and what's impossible. And you want to know, where do they stand? Are they standing on the side of possibility in general, or are they standing on the side of impossibility in general? Okay, and here's the thing. If they don't explore both sides, they're not really a choice. Okay? I'd like to really, build my business, but I know it's going to be hard. Now, I do believe I can do it, but it's going to take a lot of effort. Which side am I standing on? Possibility or impossibility? I said lots of buts.
Can you repeat it?
Well, I'm really excited to build my business, but I know it's going to be a challenge. Now, I know I lack some money, but I could get a second job. Oh, but that's going to be so tiring, but I really want this business. So, I mean, I can work hard, I know, but it's going to be a sacrifice of my time.
Right.
But I'm determined to do this. I just don't know if I can. Okay, go ahead, Sasha.
I think it's the right side. Just
How,
because what?
Yeah, how can you tell?
I used some, I think, pretty specific words or interesting words like I'm excited, and you found ways to also to go to the butt thing, to the left side, but then you turned right back to the right side. So it was like, it felt more like you were more on the right side than on the left side.
Okay. Listen to where I keep returning. Where do I keep returning? Where's my home base? All right, I'll give you another one. I'd really like to build my business, but it's so much work and it takes so much focus, and I don't know if I have, the energy for that. I mean, but, if I could, I suppose I'd have more time, but God, it's so much hard work, and the challenge and all the research that I've got to do, that's just exhausting. But then, if I never build my business, I'm going to feel horrible about myself. My family's going to be so disappointed, and I don't want my family disappointed in me. So I have to build the determination to build my business. I've got to do this. I just don't know if I can really do it. But I think if I work on my values, and I think if I have a real good strategy, oh God, but that's so much hard work too. I don't even know where to start. Which side am I? Where's my home base?
The impossible.
How can you tell?
Well, the first time you were using much more active and feeling words, and it was simple sentences like "I'm excited," and now every time you're using more conditional words and "I would," "I could," etc. But you're not really living there. You're not in the present. You're not saying, "I'm excited. I want to do this."
Great. Great observation. Again, you're listening for the concreteness. What is seemingly more concrete to me? What am I actually more gravitating towards or more committed to? Which side or the other? Now, I want you to know, at this point, if you're just in an exploration phase, it's not a bad thing. You're just tracking where they are, because then we need to know later, where do we need to make tweaks to clean up the focus in the language? How are you guys doing with this so far? Okay. If we go back to the idea of what you focus on grows, and we go back to that, we can't hold two realities at once. Remember, you tried to see the cup and the faces at the same time. It was stressful. Our minds are like a computer. It's actually a single processor. If we're thinking we're multitasking and multiprocessing, we're actually going from one task to another, to another, to another very quickly, one focus to another very quickly. And it appears like we're doing a multiprocessing or a multifocus, but really it's one point at a time. We're just toggling very quickly. Does that make sense to you guys? We have the illusion that we can process multiple things, but really it's still very linear, one point at a time. So what can happen is a person can rapidly toggle back and forth between possibility and impossibility, okay? And then you'll notice in general, they've got one foot heavier on one side than the other, and they're just dipping their toe on the other side, checking it out, but really bringing the feet back. Now, when we think from a quantum point of view, a fluid reality, both of these are possible, all right? Both realities are possible, and there's no bias towards which one will be. It's where do we put our focus? So that 1% possible does become 100% possible when I step in there with both feet, body, mind, spirit, and emotions, okay? Full congruent self. If I step in with both feet on the other side, that will become 100% impossible, all right? So it's where I'm putting my focus. So when we want to create a reality, if we're the phoenix rising from the ashes, awakening to a new reality and creating from there, what's the reality I will create from my new self? This is why congruency is very, very, very important, okay? So there's things we need to watch out for when we are creating, making the choice of the reality. So if we look back here, here's where we're establishing what's going on. Let's just be concrete and clear to say what's currently going on. Then we can go into a stage of, let's explore possibilities. What could the realities be? Let's just toggle back and forth, exploring possible scenarios, possible realities. Well, I could have my business. Well, it could be really hard, could be really exhausting, but I could have success, right? No choices yet, all right? And feel into each one to say, well, how does this fit with me? And if I'm coming from a resilient place, you know, how does this fit? And what's triggering non-resilience in me? You know, what about that? Do I really want that or not? So then when it comes to the point of, all right, so then what do I want? What now am I going to commit and engage in? Okay? How is it going to be at work from now on? How is it going to be regarding my business? How is it going to be regarding my relationship with my son? I will at some point need to make a choice. I can't keep toggling, okay? So when it comes down to commitment, there's a few things we need to do. We need to tweak the language of how this person is talking to themselves, all right? If they're being generic, we need to have them be specific, okay? Okay, so I will build my business, and I guess it will be a success in a few years. That's not specific. When will the business hit a level of success you're satisfied with? Oh, I don't know. I'm scared to say. Well, if you're scared to say, then you don't believe it's going to happen. Do you understand? When you ask, when will your business reach a level of success that you're satisfied with, they have to commit to something. That means, boom, they've got to hold that white cup in their hands and make it a reality. Do you guys follow what I'm saying here? Mm-hmm. So in 3 years, my business will be a success. See, that's moving from generic to specific. That feels different. They'll now activate a different energy. Now, moving from negative to positive, meaning, is it concrete? Oops, here. So let's see. Business will be a success in, I'll be, successful in, 3 years. Let's see. Oh yeah. I will not be struggling for money anymore in 3 years. That's not concrete. If you're not struggling to earn a living, what are you doing? My business is thriving. Okay, in 3 years, your business is thriving. Okay? It's not even about money's not an issue. It's just my business is thriving. The money goes part and parcel with that. Did you guys hear the difference? Okay. If they're using conditional language, okay, so I hope my business will be thriving in 3 years. What's the difference between I hope my business will be thriving in 3 years and my business is thriving in 3 years? It's 3 years from now, okay, to November 2021, and my business is thriving. What's the difference with that language? Moving it from conditional to present.
Well, the conditional will never happen, huh?
Why not?
Because it's conditional. So in 3 years, it's still going to hope in the future. So
yeah, it leaves room for the impossible. It gives them a plan B. It gives them an escape, right? It's not 100% possible reality. Right, yes. Were you going to add something there, Annabelle?
I said yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't see you. I don't know, my screen is doing weird. I don't see myself.
Okay. Let's see. Try it again.
Why not talk in the present and say, I have and feel like the full embodiment now, because there's nothing else now. Right?
Exactly. Okay. Yes. Keeping it present now. So now this is the weird quantum thing.
Yeah.
You feel it within yourself. This is a reality within myself. Then the work to do is gather the proof. A lot of people wait for the proof to say it's real. No. Build the container from within, and then the proof starts gathering around you because it is coming from you. This is coming from creator consciousness. A great metaphor is, have you guys ever opened a vacuum sealed can, like a can of soda or a can of beer or you know, Pringles chips, and you take you unseal it and you hear this, like the air just comes rushing in, okay? This is what you're creating within the person when creating a new belief. It's like a vacuum sealed can. They're creating the space for a new reality to come in. It is so certain within them. They feel it, they think it, they know it, they can taste it, right? And then all they do is they just open themselves out to the rest of the world, and it must fill the vacuum. The reality must, on the outside, must reflect the reality within.
Yeah.
Okay? This is why it's important to be concrete, specific, and present. All right? If I say I will be successful tomorrow, then that's what's going to happen every day. You will be successful tomorrow. Do you guys understand?
Mm-hmm.
Every day will be tomorrow. So
it's the tomorrow free beer, and you don't have to give it. Huh?
Right. So, you know, shamans, for example, when they do the rain dance, they not only, like, and the ones that can literally make it rain and have, there's studies on that. It's not that they just say it's going to rain, or they don't call the rain in. No, they immerse themselves in a reality where they, in themselves, feel the wetness on their skin. They smell the rain in the air. They can taste it. It is there, and they're calling in a reality into themselves. I see a chat. Okay. Okay, yeah. So Daniela had to leave. Great. Failure to success. Now, this is very interesting. I hope my business will thrive. Is that failure or success?
Big failure.
They're leaving room for failure. Yeah, exactly. So my business is a success, just simple as that, right? My business is a success, not I hope, but it is. This is great exercise to do with clients. When you notice them and you just catch their language, all you have to do is when they say, okay, so I hope my business will be successful. Oh, wow. I say, great. Try it again and just say, my business is a success. Try it again and say, my business has been a success for the whole year, right? Like, try it on and see how they react, right? All right. This is to do with themselves, how they feel towards themselves. Punishment or praise. This has to do with worthiness as well, okay? For example, my business might be a success, but I don't deserve all that success, okay? I'm sure my business will be a success, but it's going to be overwhelming for me, and I don't know if I can handle it. Okay, so now I'm putting failure upon myself. You know, I'm such a fuck up or screw up that I might cause the failure of my business. I'm punishing myself, right? I am not giving myself validation. So I am a successful business person running a thriving business, and I enjoy my business. That will bring more of praise and success into the person because they enjoy what is coming to them. They're reaping the rewards. So part of moving someone from punishment to praise or empowerment, self-empowerment, is that they reap the rewards of their success. Okay? Some people can be very good at creating success, but then they won't eat the fruits of their labor because they feel they don't deserve it, or they're not satisfied. It wasn't good enough. I should have been better. No, enjoy the rewards. So this could look like, it's November 2021, and I am celebrating the thriving success of my business with a glass of champagne. I did it, right? And I'm giving a toast to my team, right? That is a very different image. Do you see how it has the elements of specific, positive, present, successful, and it's praised, right? And then it's possible. So this is why you never want language like I hope or hopefully I'll make it. No, I am making it. Again, possibility and present go together. This is possible. How are you guys doing with that information? Those are some things to look out for when creating mantras or beliefs with clients or with yourself. This is how you can restructure your language. Just love to hear your comments. Comments, questions, anything.
Well, this resonates very much with me. Very much. Because there was a belief, a kind of blind spot around my business. And anytime I see you, Troy, there is something that it's kind of anchor my understanding very much.
Okay.
And I stay with the client that didn't pay me yet, about 3,000 euros. And what's happened to me is that my body starts to forget the appointment, and I get angry, very angry. And I ask to my anger, what are you saying me? What is the meaning of this? And all the forget things. So I understood that my whole being was saying to me, this is no longer your place. You enjoy your excellence in work, and you have to ask the right fees. This is what I understood, and I start to act differently. I left these clients, and I'm going to build a new relationship with other kind of clients.
Okay.
And because I'm decided to move in complete another place with professional that has already the amount of money that I deserve to be excellent as I am. And I call this self-love.
Okay.
And what was excited is that I can, with another client, I'm be able to transmit this, to make these people also that they deserve what they have. They deserve success. They deserve to live the whole life in a better way. So this was huge to me, that I'm, as you said, I'm living my new belief in a very wonderful way, because I empower each day with new creativity, new programs, new stuff that are more aligned with who I am now. So,
great. And you let things feed back to you, what you're giving and allow to receive and give and receive. And it all reinforces the same belief circle, let's say. That is very important.
Yes, yes.
What's interesting is that the beginning of that movement seemed to come when you said, I'm angry, and you interrogated that, which is very different than I'm not happy, I'm not being paid, I deserve more. You went to what was really there. That seemed to be very powerful.
Yes, because I'm in the training that allow any kind of feelings to be felt as an energy that is talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you feel something, there is something that you have to see. If I feel something, I say, oh, okay, what are you telling me? And this is very powerful because you don't judge, you don't label, you don't use anything. You just expand your awareness, if this makes sense.
Keep awakening, keep expanding the awareness, and then keep coming back to your own resilience. Like I said at the very beginning, okay, I'm angry. They're not paying me. Da, da, da. Am I okay still? Am I still alive? Go there first. Then you can decide, all right, so I'm going to go get that money, or I'm changing the way I do things so I don't get these kinds of clients anymore. What do I need to address in myself so I'm not attracting that in or giving in to certain decisions, right? So you could also say, well, forget the money. I'm done with that. I'm moving on. But then don't let that hang over your head. Like I give up the money, I'm okay, and I'm moving on. And it's from an honest place, not from a rebellious place. Because some people will say, well, screw the money, I don't need it. And that there's actually not okay with it, right? So
No.
you can use that anger as a fuel to say, all right, because anger is also passion, right? And so, what am I angry at, right? And then how does that fuel my own resilience? And then how do I refocus myself? Where do I go? There's a few things I also wanted to mention about fueling the belief, but I want to hear from you guys a little bit more. Just what you're taking. This is more about how to watch what the beliefs are that are floating around. Then when you make a choice, how to go in it with full congruency, both feet. What's going to protect that new belief as it grows up, right? Being specific, concrete, success-oriented, praise-oriented, present tense. That's what gives a strong focus on it. And there's a little bit more too on the actual manifesting that I want to speak a little bit about as well. But other comments, questions here?
I have something about, maybe it's a belief, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know how to say it. Say, Troy, if I can take you.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're also an actor and a pianist and all that. So you could say, I'm going to create, in 2020, I'll have a concert sold out and create a whole goal around playing Chopin, or I don't know what you want to play, in a big hall. But actually, my sense is you're so good at what you're doing here. Like, I'm lately getting a feeling like life is unfolding, whether we want this or that from our minds. You see what I mean?
Okay, I think. Let me see if I'm following where you're going. And this is actually bridging into what I wanted to speak about next, which is the act of
actually, maybe I should take it on myself. So I'm also an artist,
mm-hmm.
and I love it. It's nurturing my soul, but I also get nurtured by coaching and supervision.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love my job. So I'm complete when I'm allowing the time also to create, to sculpt. And I think I better sell it. And why am I not selling it? So let's put that as a goal. So I have all the tools and I created, but when I need, so far it hasn't happened. But then I must admit, when I take action, when they want me to do a coaching session, or shall I go? And I choose for coaching. So my priority is still there. So that makes sense. But on the other hand, when I really look within, I'm actually fine with that. But my mind feels like I need to prove myself in the world somehow.
Okay.
So it doesn't feel like it's from It feels like a different, it's something I'm busy with now.
Well, where I would go with that then, there's several doors to check out, and this opens a whole other can of worms, but it's what we also work with EED is I want to check out, one, you've got an urge or an impulse, right? Which is, okay, I'm fine being, doing my coaching and my business and all of that. There is another side of me that is artistic, and I'm not regularly creating or exhibiting or doing any of that. And I'm actually okay with it, but I keep getting pulled back there, right? So the first thing I'm going to check out is, where is it coming from? Is this from the pathetic self, the reptilian brain, kind of obligating and pushing you there? Or is this from a resilient urge, desire for contribution? There's a difference between the two. Okay, if this is
right, so that's the key question. Are you coming from contribution, or
is it generous contribution, or is it self-punishment, obligation, or something? Because let's say you're an artist, you are artistic, you will live and die as an artist whether you create or not.
Exactly.
That is in your whole being. Okay. Just because you're an artist, sometimes the reptilian mind will say, well, then you have to make a profession out of it. You got to make money out of it. You've got to exhibit.
Right.
You've got to prove it. Right?
That's it. No, the reptilian brain says, well, you're not a true artist because you're not selling your art, and you should be doing this and that and that. But I have an artist in my soul.
Okay.
So it's like, it comes from wanting to prove myself, or
that means there's an old belief hanging on.
Yeah.
That hasn't been completely let go or killed yet. Let's say you haven't, like I had to do this with my piano career. I had to kill the dream of being a concert pianist. That was a decision I made. I said, I'm not going to be a concert pianist. I'm now going to move into film, right? And then I had to do it again when I said, am I doing film or am I doing coaching and leadership training? And then I had to make that decision. Now, that doesn't mean I killed the musician in me. I did not kill the actor in me, nor the composer, nor the poet. I still am there. I'm living in a fluid reality where at any point I can resurrect any of these careers, and I could become a brain surgeon if I want. Okay, so it's right. The other thing is, okay, you're an artist. You're happy with your business. Well, you're infusing that artist temperament into the business as well. Okay. Now, so what has to happen then, if it's the reptilian brain, is we've got to kill that dream, so to speak. Say, fine. So, how you won't exhibit. You won't go back into the sculptor's studio professionally. Do you understand? We're killing the obligation.
That's right.
Okay, you're free to create at any time, any day, and I know once if that's what's driving it, that obligation, when that's neutralized, you'll find yourself naturally doodling or walking into the studio on some day, and because it's from freedom of choice and resilience. Okay, not from trying to measure up or prove to something. Do you understand? You'll do it naturally. Now, the other way is this contribution? And this is what I wanted to talk about. From resilience, when we get natural resilience all charged up within ourselves, we're very anchored into, say, an essential quality. It could be peace, love, limitless creativity, or unity. There's going to come a point where we want to share that energy, and there's going to be a desire to contribute. All right? And this is when we can start getting into purpose and vision, all right? It's from that energy we can start creating a vision. And it might be, I have my business here, but on the side, I still am a sculptor. And I really have this urge to sculpt or paint. And so we can create a vision out of that. But it's coming now from the resilient contribution, and that is very different, right? Mm-hmm. So we want to create a specific vision then. All right, so what is it, 2020, and you're celebrating the opening night of an exhibit at a gallery, right? And then you've got, 10, 15 pieces there. Let's say 15 pieces. If you want to manifest that, great. Have that specific vision, right? According to what we talked about before. Present, concrete, positive, affirmed possibility, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then we've got to build in the fuel, the emotional fuel, the desire. That vision, I want that. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel pleasurable. I feel a charged up positive energy towards that. We also want to build in purpose. Okay, so I'm contributing my art. Beyond me, what does it give others? What does it give the world? What's that higher contribution? It's greater than myself. That will feed the vision and feed the emotional fuel. And the other thing is, how does this feed my own well-being? How does that feed back to my creativity? How does that feed back to who I am as an artist, or through my business, or whatever? And when you understand what you're giving in contribution, what that higher purpose is, what the pleasurable desire is for that, and how it feeds back to your well-being and creativity, you will manifest. So this is what we call intentional focus, all right? This we go through in detail in Module 3. But I want to say that you can't just have a mantra. There's a vision, there's emotional fuel, there's a higher purpose, and there's feedback to the well-being and creativity. And that is more accurately how the law of attraction will work when recreating yourself and creating in a new reality, when you can co-create the new reality.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I could say is, with vision comes strategy. So great, I'm going to have that exhibit. I'm going to have 15 pieces that I've created. Now, how am I going to go about doing that? Okay. When we've got the feeling of resilience plus the vision, the purpose, that's quite strong. Now we can introduce some of the fear to create the strategy. Ooh, well, what if I don't have time? Good question. How will you make the time? What if people don't like my work? Well, what if they don't? What do you need to be firm in? Or what will make your work more appealing? Okay, who is your audience? Who are you creating this for? Every fear will bring up great questions that the resilience can address. Okay, it's only later that we can use fear to build the strategy, because the fear is actually asking legitimate, good questions. What it's saying is, great, you want to build this bridge. Well, how's that bridge going to be stable and stand up? Oh, stop thinking about impossibilities and failure. It's just going to work. No. That's a good question, okay? Because we've decided we're building the bridge. Now we need to see what's going to make the bridge strong and stable. Do you guys understand the difference? How later your fears and thoughts of impossibility can actually feed the vision and strategy to make it even more possible, because now it's smarter. Okay, the fears are going to increase the creativity. They give you a reason to be creative. This is why going into fear and strategy in the beginning with a new idea is not a good idea, because it's just going to kill the whole thing. Rather, build the belief first with the vision, the purpose. Now address the fears once that's anchored. How's this sounding for you guys?
Wonderful. You're so enrolling when you talk with
my hands.
That's great. Yeah.
Great. What I wanted to do was just share this last slide, and then we can close this. just to let you know. So now, many of you have taken the courses and some of you haven't, but I'm releasing basically tomorrow the new dates for 2019. So we have Module 1 coming up in Paris, February 1st to 3rd, and March 15th to 17th. We also have it coming up in Munich, February 15th and March 22nd. I'm going to open registration this week. The next webinar is Living in Quantum Relationship with Everything. This is going to be an extension of what we were talking about, of holding multiple realities, and how you can use different levels of reality to feed your current state of being. So this is meaning we talk about 4 states of relationship. Relationship with self, other, world, and time. And all of this can be a fluid reality. So yeah, you'll all get a thank you email with this information. And for those of you who are alumni, we have Module 3 coming up January 18th in Munich and January 25th in Paris. Both are open. So you have to go to, well, you can email me or go to the current registration site to sign up for that, or come and assist. You need assistance as well.
I booked already everything for Module 3 in Paris.
Yes, that's right. So I know you're going to be there. Philippe will be possibly at both, or one or the other.
I'm not sure yet. I still need to make this decision.
Yeah, okay. Good. And Deborah, I'm hoping maybe you can come. This might entice you. I don't know. And Sasha, I know you're planning to come later in the year for the Module 3. Paul, yeah, might entice you. So, so for the rest of you, I want to thank you for being here. I'd love to hear from some or all what you are walking away with as far as new learnings, new discoveries, what's inspiring, or what you're going to try and test out. Being the phoenix on the rise.
I think for me it was pretty interesting because there are so many parallels between the neuroscience and the coaching. For example, the brain only learns when there's emotion, and I think that's pretty good to make things specific, name things. For example, oh, that's fear, oh, that's excitement. And so if we are excitement and also name it, then it gets more true for the brain, and you can remember things better and probably build something out of it. And that's what I'm taking with me, that the naming things and to make, for example, just the feelings, make them clear, will probably or will help the process to achieve things or to build up things. That's also interesting with a lot of things, and also coming from this positive background, like the resilience place, because then you are not in fight or flight, and then you are definitely more creative and see more solutions, more possibilities, and all that kind of stuff. So it's also just, you help me to put things in a more practical way by some phrases, by some words, and just even looking at different perspectives while talking and all that kind of stuff. You make it just more specific for me. So thank you very much. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, rebuilding from clarity, being clean and resilient. Be very aware and intentional about what you're building into your whole system as you build a new reality, build a new self, build a new belief. Yeah. Anyone else want to make some final comments or observations?
For me, it's you said basically to anchor a new belief. There was these 3 stages. One was a pleasurable environment to establish a new belief, so that helps. Number 2, repeating the new belief, and number 3, which was the main thing for me, is I was acting on that new belief to basically test it out and also have add to the experience of this new belief and in a way refine it and make it more true through actions. And for myself and also for my coaching clients, I've noticed that people can go through the first 2 steps and then still have this very strong belief inside, but not act upon it. And putting it in that context makes it more what gives more meaning to it, because it's just it's not because you have the great belief and something that is really truthful to you that it will immediately happen that way, but do it and see where you're still maybe a bit wrong to what the reality is, and refine it.
I have a tip for that. Be sure that when they go out to test the new belief or act upon it, number one, that they welcome all proof that may come. They welcome all proof that may come, because they may be saying, well, that's not really a proof. They're looking for some big result. No. Welcome anything and everything that reinforces the belief as proof. Number two, have them act out the new belief in something of low consequence, a situation of low consequence, okay? Meaning take the baby steps so that they can gather easy proof, okay? And that they are enjoying it. So they're fully standing in the belief. Otherwise, they're going to test out the belief with a secondary belief saying this isn't working, right? They've got to do it with investment in meaning and gather all proof and enjoy that. So that's a tip for that so that they get to exercise the belief, put it to the test, tiny tests, so that they repeat with variation, and it will reinforce the proof. Then it becomes even more and more and more real for them. Great. This
Something
is why.
I found.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Deborah. Yes.
Something I found very useful is when I have a client who's in not. I'm asking them, so what do you want? Well, I'm not. And I would get tied in a knot. And I would blame myself because I was feeling like that. And so just do the simplicity of the dissonance exercise you did showed me that's just a marker that person is in knot. This is what happens to my body when I'm listening to a client who's in knot. Oh, just data. Now I can move to something else.
That's
and
right.
Instead of stopping there and beating myself up, which is not looking at the client anymore.
Exactly. Great. And this will also get them to face tangible fact as opposed to acting from emotion, right? Which is not a reality. Emotion is a driver. It's not a reality. Okay. We've got to create tangible things to get emotional about, but we got to know what is the thing we're focused on that's making us so emotional. Do you understand? So again, yeah. So, and this is great to say. So it's not that. Then what is it? Is a non-intrusive way of getting them to focus without making them wrong. You don't have to correct them on the language at all. It's just great. So you're unhappy. All right. So then what is the actual feeling? When you're not happy, you are what? Yeah. Good. Yes. And it'll make you feel more relaxed in the relationship. Anyone else?
Well, I found very powerful to me when you say to use fear to create strategies, because I have done just right now one time and I say, wow, thinking about if they don't like this, what can I do? Well, it's open up to different possibilities to create strategies, but also questioning myself, my beliefs around things, and I found very powerful. And the other things was when Annabelle shared a story as artist, that I stopped playing piano because my arms, I had surgical operation. I no longer can play piano. I still listen in music, but I can say, how can I use this to create a different way to be an artist?
Right.
And this was very powerful too today. So I'm very grateful, and always I love you, Troy.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it when you're on our webinars all the time. Yes. So great. And Paul, you wanted to
yes. Yeah, my biggest takeaway was that we start from the inside and we can build up in the inside and release them, like filling the vacuum, and then the world will shift accordingly. So, and how it relates to the paradox of the two images.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it, we create something, and as long as we create, outside is nothingness, inside we have it, and then it might shift and we see, yeah, we create a mirror, some sort.
Excellent. Awesome. Good. Annabelle, did you have any final words, or are you good?
I'm good. I can underline everything has been said. I like the awareness of the language and the impact it has, and also to make the client aware of, if they talk like that to themselves, what's the feeling? That.
Great.
And the last part. But I felt I thought like I was holding back to share it, but I'm happy that it served Irene.
Me too.
And you too.
Mm-hmm.
I love it when you connect higher purpose and contribution, and you can say it also well, and it makes total sense. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Well, I mean, everyone experiences this in one way or another, right? Especially as they move through different phases of their life, multiple careers, you know, when they've let go of dreams, take on new dreams, wake up old dreams. It's always a shifting reality, and we don't always catch up. It's like we're trying to live in that two faces world, but trying to pretend we're a cup, right? It doesn't fit, right? So we have to, again, create not only internal congruency, but congruency with beliefs and where we're heading and with our intentions. So we keep it clear, focused, and concrete. We reduce a lot of our stress, and we can bring in much more joy and creativity into our life. And if there's anything I want to leave you with, it's that language is a trigger. So it will trigger the reactions on the other levels, emotional and physical and mental. And language is also an encapsulator. It can encapsulate or crystallize in a very easy way a whole body, whole brain experience. So it works both ways. It can trigger and it can crystallize.
Mm-hmm.
So we're working with all of that stuff in between to get it all aligned, okay, with congruency. And then we move forward from there.
I want to add something here in the matter of language. Where in your courses or where in your theory do you find the difference of language and feelings, like elaborated on?
We're always aware of that. We're always aware that, you know, do things match up or not?
Okay, to make it more concrete, like we can talk with a client about feelings. Okay, you're in this feeling, in that feeling, in this feeling, but we can also talk about the story, or we can talk about the things that trigger the feeling. And this is a different story, but both can get to the goal.
What I'll say is we start you off not depending on story and language, and then we reintroduce it so that it can reconcile and work together. And this is more in modules 2 and 3 that we bring that back. So,
okay.
Yeah, but in module 1, you're going to learn how to not depend on language and story. You're looking more at the other stuff, the actions, reactions, behaviors, and energies. And then we start to match it up and create the congruency. So
I look forward to module 3.
Yes, I look forward to seeing you as well, Annabelle. And so thank you everyone for participating, and for those listening to the recording, thank you for taking the time to listen to the recording. And we'll see you all again soon, and come join us also next month, December 5th, for the final webinar of the year. So thank you everyone.